YouTube and friends, how are you? Dakota here, and doing another review. Sulchan! Daniel-san, Necklace-tan. I don't think 2 Chainz really needs an introduction. You know, pretty much anybody who's a hip-hop fan is definitely aware of who he is, and even people who don't frequent rap and hip-hop that much are aware of 2 Chainz. He's a little bit more zany of an MC. Definitely very discernible with his voice and themes. I mean, let's not forget the classics, you know. She got a big booty, so I call her Big Booty. My favorite 2 Chainz line, if it's money over everything, I'll put it in the attic. 2 Chainz was kind of someone for me. It took a while for me to warm up to him once I understood that he was an MC that took himself totally seriously, and that a lot of his music is to just laugh and enjoy the loudness and the goofiness of it. The last project of 2 I reviewed was Travivelli Trey, that came back I believe a year ago around August, and since then he's also put out a collaborative album with Lil Wayne, though Lil Wayne could not be cited or, you know, featured as a co-artist in the main billing of this album due to issues still again with whatever's going on with Birdman and his situation over there. But, you know, while Collard Grove wasn't like anything too groundbreaking or, you know, anything outstanding, I really liked it. You know, not only did I think Wayne was bringing a lot better bars and a little bit more charisma and life into his music, but 2 Chainz surprised me too, changing up his flow a little bit, kind of giving himself some new areas of, you know, discussion or whatever. Even in light of that the tracks that are good from Collard Grove, all the wonderful features that 2 Chainz has done to provide comedic relief on albums with Big Sean and Pusha T and Drake. You know, I've always felt like 2 Chainz was just more of a feature rapper. Like exactly all the songs that I like him on for the most part are not even his songs. This mixtape caught me off guard a little bit, to be honest. Going into this mixtape, I expected a lot of what we have been getting, like, you know, stuff off of his first couple albums, stuff like Travivelli Trey that came out last year, just that, you know, kind of generic, you know, bassy turn-up kind of beats with 2 Chainz giving some goofy flexing bars. And it's not completely like 2 Chainz' other stuff, but at the same time, this, again, is not anything that's going to just make you sit back and go, wow. One of my complaints that I had last year with Travivelli Trey is I felt like 2 Chainz' his beats on that project, a lot of them sounded very, very similar, and I think they were kind of interchangeable, and I would have just liked a change up on the production style. And so, from what I've heard of Collard Grove, he brought that on there, and he did it again with this mixtape, but chose, you know, trap production, yes, but trap production that is very interesting. A lot of the beats on this project are a lot more quirky, in all honesty, than I was expecting them to be. I think this is like one of the first projects I've seen where, you know, at least from a major artist, where I pretty much knew almost none of the producers. DJ Spins and C4 and TM88, I think, were the only 3 that I knew, but there's a couple other producers on here such as Dun Dun and Buddha Bliss, which I've never heard of. 2 Chainz definitely had a sound in mind for this that he wanted to stick with. They sound a little bit more synthetic, they sound kind of cartoonish, some of these, and a lot of these I'm getting like a Zaytoven feel with maybe a slight Metro Boomin influence. Big Amount, that contains the only feature on this album from Drake. The beat for that was made by this producer named Buddha Bliss. It sounds like a beat that is coming from someone who's only been making beats for maybe like a year and a half. You know, you've got the very simple little cymbals in there, along with like the synthetic fake pan flute that's going on to provide a counter melody, you know, and it's interesting to hear 2 huge artists that you usually hear over, you know, just very impactful and very glossy production. To hear 2 Chainz and Drake on this kind of beat is very different. Also on the song Ghetto, we have this very interesting keyboard texture that's a little bit grimy, a little bit, it almost sounds like a keyboard farting. You know, this is more of like a sound I would expect and like an odd future beat, and one of those odd future beats where like they're trying to like make fun of trap music. Or I will say that a couple of the productions on this album I was not crazy about, but in comparison to the rest of them, I thought they had a little bit more character in them, such as the song One Yeezy Boot I thought was pretty cool, and Ghetto did have character as well. So lyrically, I mean, it's 2 Chainz. You know, what are you gonna expect from 2 Chainz? You're gonna expect, you know, hyperbolated analogies and just over the top goofiness, you know, and you know, flexing lyrics, but flexing lyrics that make you laugh. And you know, that's cool, and 2 Chainz can be the comedic relief in a lot of tracks, but the thing with 2 Chainz' style and the bars he brings is that at some point, and I said this, you know, a few years ago in his career, at some point that's going to get played out, and he can only do that for so long. And I think that 2 Chainz is finally reaching the finish line of his essence. You can only tell a joke so many times before it comes unfunny, and then you have to let a lot of time go by for it to be funny again, but even then it's never going to be as funny as it was the first time you heard it. And I think that's what's happening with 2 Chainz. He's doing a lot of switching up on this mixtape, not necessarily with what he's saying, but just with the way that he's bringing it and the packaging that it's coming in. He's using some flows that resemble more of people that are getting popular at the moment. I do hear him borrowing from Drake a little bit, which is not saying a lot because Drake borrows from a lot of other people. You know, Migos and you know, some of the production style on here and the major key melodies are almost like a little Yachty-ish, and the way he's mumbling things incoherently, or at least attempting to, is, you know, reminiscent of Designer and Future. So, and, you know, granted, I don't think a lot of these artists would be as successful without people like 2 Chainz, but he's trying to still have the 2 Chainz topics and the 2 Chainz lines, but without the 2 Chainz delivery, and he's doing it in delivery of other people, and it's just not as captivating as it usually is. When you walk away from a 2 Chainz project, you hope to have a lot of quotables, and this project just really didn't have any quotables. You know, I mean, he was being funny, but at other times he was trying to talk about, you know, more real things, like, you know, hanging out at the Waffle House, getting the patty melt with the hash browns. So, you know, it's like he's trying to be more real, and even the funny stuff, it's like just a variation on stuff he said before. Let me get a salad with croutons and codeine dressing. And, you know, he's made so many codeine jokes before, and he's made some salad jokes too. Like last year, I ate my salad off a Versace plate. It's like this metaphor is just kind of like, okay, like, heard it before. Even on some of the tracks where 2 Chainz is making me laugh on this album, it's not even necessarily like, you know, like I said, like a ha-ha funny. Sometimes 2 Chainz just sounds kind of like he's losing his mind on this mixtape, you know, between the random talking and switching topics when he's talking, and on the song Chirp, which I don't know what's going on in the chorus here. I mean, I know what's going on, but it's just strange, in all honesty. You know, 2 Chainz is doing these sounds that sound like a frog ribbiting, and I didn't understand. I assumed Chirp was a metaphor for shooting somebody, like, or shooting a snitch, which I might have been way off base, but I think 2 Chainz is talking about the things people are taking from him, such as his swag and his weed. He's gonna try to put on lock with a car alarm, and I think he's trying to do the boop boop noise, but it's coming out brr, brr, trying to take my stash, homie, brr, brr, trying to take my girl, homie, brr, brr, blah, blah. And it sounds like 2 Chainz is just going off the deep end and needs medication. We have a YFN Lucci feature on here, which he sucks. But we also have the Drake feature on here, which while I didn't care for the beat that Drake was spitting over, I did like some of the lines in Drake's verse, and I can't say that I like what Drake wrote, because I don't know if Drake wrote this one or not. I'm having dreams of Michael Jackson. He told me I was bad. So Shaman with my check. You know, that was cool. But I think that's all the thoughts I've really got on this album, man. This album, for the most part, was just really kind of it's kind of like the snooze button of mixtapes, you know, that I've heard within the past couple months. It was just kind of middle of the road. It's like 2 Chainz is normally such a charismatic and interesting person, and this mixtape really wasn't. I think if 2 Chainz wasn't already big and it has established who he is and what he does and his style, if this was just put out by some plain Jane, then this mixtape would have gone absolutely nowhere. You know, it's just not, you know, exciting. It's not anything new. It's just like, oh, 2 Chainz put out a new project? Okay, great. If you like it, like it. But for me, it was just kind of, you know, flatlined. It's a D-. Daniel San Necklace Don, just, this is another one that just can go, you know, just right to the recycle bin. We should do this again sometime. Yeah, and if you want us to, let me know what I should review next. If you're an artist and want me to check out your stuff, if you have a full-length project that is available to download or stream, please let me know. Yeah, that's it. 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz.